It's balls hot in here. If you haven't noticed my pattern, I like watching generic romantic comedies and then tearing them apart. What you might not know is that I also like to watch other people tear down generic rom-coms. And so, as I was watching Curtis Connor suffer through a Christian Mingle movie, I noticed that YouTube suggested a few films for me, and one caught my eye. Must Love Dogs got my attention for two reasons. One, there's a dog on the cover, so I need to see this cutie in action, obviously. And two, it has John Cusack in it. I'm not, like, a huge fan of his. I'm not a fangirl or anything, but I'd recently watched another film with him in it, and I needed to see if this was any better. I won't be naming the other movie yet, because I do intend to do a review on it at another time. Directed by Gary David Goldberg, also known for directing 1989's Dad, and that's it really. And starring John Cusack from Say Anything in 2012, and Diane Lane from Under the Tuscan Sun, and The Glass House. Must Love Dogs is a film, and that's enough for me, I guess. Sorry, I'm being a bit rude. Let's just say it's okay. Plot synopsis time. Sarah is 40 and recently divorced. Believing Sarah needs to date more, her sister, Carol, creates an online dating profile for her. Simultaneously, Jake reluctantly decides to try internet dating. Sarah and Jake meet, and though both agree that they are not interested in a serious relationship, their chemistry is undeniable. But when Bob suddenly shows interest in Sarah, her future with Charlie becomes unclear. Now, I want to point out something glaringly important about the synopsis, and it's something that bothered me since before I even watched the movie. It arguably made me want to watch it even more than I already did. Who the is Charlie? This paragraph I just read introduces 4 characters: Sarah, Jake, Carol, and Bob. Who the is Charlie? And what is their relationship with Sarah? Wasn't mentioned before. Is this a pop quiz? I wasn't studying. My original theory was that it's the dog that's on the cover right here, but let's just dive in and find out, shall we? Besides an excruciatingly painful title sequence with interviews with people on how they meet other people.
Where do you meet people? I don't know. They're everywhere.
Why, is there a problem?
We start off with our female protagonist, Sarah, in the middle of an intervention hosted by her father and siblings. And she has, like, a huge family, so don't feel bad if you get lost amongst all the siblings and names. It doesn't really matter. Now, what's the intervention for? Drugs, maybe gambling, porn? No. You see, Sarah's been divorced for a whole 8 months, and her family thinks it's about time she get back out there and date. Yes, you heard me right. This woman has been married for over a decade, and her family's main concern is that she's not getting any younger, so it's time to settle down again. Each one of them has brought a photo of an eligible bachelor and posted them on her refrigerator, just in case she, changes her mind. To be fair, her family is also concerned that she's too depressed to function, but I don't think a man will really help with that. Trust me, I know. Somewhere else, we meet our male protagonist, Jake, who is also freshly divorced. Apparently, it was a very brutal divorce where he lost, everything, but the judge thinks he's hot, so there's that.
I liked you.
Well, I liked her too, as far as judges go.
No, I mean, really.
Good thing he's got his best friend and lawyer to deem him too pitiful and tries to convince him to get laid. It's a solid friendship. Oh, and Jake's, super horny for boats. I guess his hobby, it's his hobby or job or dream or whatever, is to build boats and sell them. The problem is nobody wants to buy them because they're super impractical. Let's get back to Sarah, though. She's at the grocery store buying sad single food and being sad about not having kids, I guess. She also gets into a weird argument with the guy at the meat counter because he's trying to upsell her on the day's specials.
Look, listen to me, mister. I'm divorced, okay? I eat alone, usually standing over the sink. I don't want a bunch of chicken hanging around, okay?
Poor guy didn't deserve that. Sometime later, at her work as a preschool teacher, we meet Sarah's second love interest, Bob. Or Bobby. Or, it doesn't really matter. According to his kid, who got bitch slapped in the face by some little girl, he's a flirt and his parents are separated.
My parents are trying it apart for a while.
We have a theme, June.
Yes, we do.
My mom says my dad is incorrigible. That means he likes other women.
I'll give you 3 guesses to what rom-com trope they're setting us up for. I'll wait. Not really, let's keep going. Now, Sarah's sisters are helping her get ready for some mystery date. She's answered some personal ad, and it'll be her first date since her ex. She's looking for a man in his early 50s with a yellow rose, and surprise, surprise, it's her dad. It's so, how embarrassing, right? Her sisters even have a good laugh about it. You know, solid family right there.
Hi, Sarah. I was just telling Chris that it's a shame I didn't know about this before because I could have called Uncle Chet. We could have doubled. Oh, no.
Big Sis Carol is to the unnecessary rescue and signs her up for an internet dating website where she already has like a dozen messages from potential bachelors. Don't worry, her nosy family already went through them and picked their favorites, so that's fun. And don't you worry again, we get an amazing montage of some truly awful dates, including, but not limited to, a guy crying very loudly, very publicly, a man who I think is in the mob, and some scumbag who is practically a...
Oh, you said your age range was 25 to 45.
I guess I was hoping more for 25. 23, 18. That's legal.
Back with Jake, and his friend pulled a Carol and signed him up for some dating site. The same dating site as Sarah. He even went to the liberty of setting him up on a date with... who do you think? Sarah. Sarah and him have plans to meet at a dog park. Now, knowing the title of the movie, you would think that at least one of them owns a dog, right? Nope. Sarah borrowed her brother's dog, Mother Teresa. She's the one in the cover, and she's freaking precious. And Jake borrowed his friends. Now, let me sum up this date for you real quick. Awkward, intense, and uncomfortable. That's all you gotta know, and really, I wish I didn't have to sit through it as many times as I do. Fuck editing. So it's not going too great for Sarah, but her dad has a new lady friend and wants his daughters to meet her. So, meet Dolly. She becomes, oddly enough, a big character in this movie. Not the main character, but you know what I mean. Dolly lives in the trailer park community where recently separated Bob lives. For some reason, he gets invited to dinner, and it's, something. Why it ends in song, I will never know.
Come on, get happy. A whole lot of love is what we'll be bringing. We'll make you happy.
Afterwards, Sarah goes through her online messages, and Jake has called and asked for a second chance, and she says yes. He takes her to this Armenian restaurant and has another weirdly intense discussion with her, which must have gotten her like all horned up, because next thing you know, they're smashing through her house. But oh no, neither have a condom. Safety first, kids. Let's fast forward through the montage of condom hunting, a phrase I never thought I would ever have to say, and Sarah's not quite feeling it anymore, which is perfectly okay. Sex isn't guaranteed no matter what. After going home, the couple is met with Big Sis Carol because she knows no concept of privacy or calling ahead. Sometime later, we're at a confirmation party, it's a Catholic thing, for I think Sarah's older brother's son, where we get to see Dolly again and meet two more of Dad's girlfriends. Go Dad. Afterwards, Sarah's driving Dolly back home and they bond over failed marriages. Dolly then introduces Sarah to the magical world of catfishing. Take notes, this is important later. Later, while talking to Jake on the phone, Dolly comes over with some sort of emergency. Turns out catfishing isn't really a good idea when you're 50 years older than the other person.
I don't see why this is a problem. Like, some people go their whole lives looking for their soulmate. I found mine when I was 15. Sue me.
15? You said you were 17.
Oops.
After that's figured out and Sarah takes Dolly back home, she thinks it would be just the grandest idea to drop in on Bob and, I don't know, flirt. Too bad Bob has someone over already, and too bad it's her younger coworker, June.
You sure you want to come in? We just opened a bottle of wine.
Oh, I think I'd rather die, but thank you.
I too would rather die. She gets home only to find Jake and her little brother on the front porch. Jake just wanted to make sure she was okay because, she hung up on him and some strange lady said it was an emergency. But her brother and his dog got kicked out of his girlfriend and wife's house because of some relationship issues, because that's a pattern here. And this is still the same night as the 15-year-old runaway and Bob sleeping with June. So, keep up. Crazy times in a rom-com. Sarah and Jake get their flirt on in the kitchen when baby bro interrupts by trying to drunkenly go home. Jake offers to take him home as long as Sarah stays in the mood. Too bad she left something at Bob's because he comes strolling in and kisses her right as Jake comes back with her brother slung over his shoulder. Again, this is still the same night. How much BS can they fit in one night? Jake is reasonably upset because he kind of thought they had something special, and honestly Sarah's upset too because Bob kind of ruined everything and he's really not that cute anymore. Now Jake is sent into another depressive episode and Sarah's trying her hand at catfishing a la Dolly. Cue the dating montage yet again. My personal favorite is the guy who brought his 14-year-old daughter to the date. Maybe they could double date with, that 15-year-old that Dolly had to kick to the curb. One thing that I do not love is the fact that she goes on this romantic overnight stay with Bob, this a-hole. It's all cute at first, but then he opens his mouth and ruins it.
Do you mind if we take that with us and hit the road? I don't want to run into traffic.
Oh, it's Sunday.
Yeah, I got a game today.
He's such a man-child and a whore, and I'm not slut-shaming. I just don't like him. I'm glad she breaks his glasses out of anger and calls him this. Now, Sarah's sad again, and I really feel for her because I've been there more times than I'd like to admit. To get out of the house, she goes on this midnight nail salon thing with her coworker and his husband, only to see Jake outside. For some reason, she thinks it's a good idea to run outside without any shoes to say hi. She could have just called, and it might have saved some embarrassment because he's on a date with his friend's dumb but promiscuous coworker, Sherry. Great, so nobody is happy now, even the husbands.
It seemed like it was going to be so perfect. You chase him down the street. He turns, he sees you. Takes you in his arms, fireworks explode. It's happily ever after.
Jake decides to turn down Sherry's offer for freaky sex and later swallows his pride and accepts this offer to sell his boat for wall decor, cutting it right in half. He does want the boat to spend at least a little time in the water, you know, for its actual purpose. And here's where he runs into Sarah's dad. They bond over the boat and some women troubles. It's a grand old time. Dad's on his way to go cheer up his little girl when he copies one of Jake's poetic compliments, and Sarah just knows it's him.
She was a unique constellation of attributes. She was my Halley's Comet.
This unique constellation of attributes. Your Halley's Comet, your...
What did you just say?
Well, it's a nice turn of phrase, but it's not my own.
She runs to his place only to run into his friend, and honestly, why is he always around? He does let her know where he really is, and off she goes. After being unable to rent a boat, this rowing team decides to give her a lift, and Mother Teresa, the doggy, she's so cute, only to pass Jake. What do you think she should do? A, give up altogether and just move on. B, go back to land and hope she just runs into him when he docks. C, go back to land and call him. Or D, jump into the water, swimming to him and confessing her love. Come on now. It's a romantic comedy, you know the answer. Blah blah blah, love wins, kiss, and end. Oh wait, end credit scenes? Yes, please.
My gosh, I did not think I was ready to settle down, but look at the size of this rock.
So, dogs, am I right? Okay, so this isn't my favorite, if you could tell from my voice, but I want to give credit to a few things I did enjoy. Starting with Sarah's character. I actually liked Sarah. She felt really real, and I got to congratulate Diane Lane for her performance. And from reading some reviews, a lot of critics bash Sarah and Diane's portrayal of her, but I really enjoyed it. I have a feeling it's because it was a little too realistic with the woman's side of things, but I can't be sure because, you know, I'm not those people. I guess I can't assume. There were also a few side characters I really liked, like Dolly and her co-worker and his husband. Dolly and Sarah's relationship took this like wholesome mother-daughter type role, or maybe it's closer to like a sisterly type role. But either way, I really liked it. I like when women characters are nice to each other and it's not just catty. And the dogs. Like, look at these cuties. They were fantastic in every scene, and I loved them. Shall we move on to the things I hated? Yes. Yes, we shall. Why is her family so goddamn mean to her? Like, her sisters dunk on her so often, and it's usually in the times that she needs the most support. She gets a divorce, is visibly miserable, and everyone's like, oh, did you try getting a new man? She needs therapy and support, not dick. Jeez. The incel-ish behavior of Drake and his friend towards the beginning of the film is also disgusting. His friend is all about getting laid, and the sluttier the woman, the better, but also if she's a slut, she's not worth respecting. So that, as much as I loved Diane, Sarah and Jake have like zero chemistry in this film, and you can't convince me otherwise. The date scene between the two makes me so uncomfortable, and that's not the feeling you want the audience to have in a rom-com. It's kind of, you know, the opposite, really. And finally, before I go off the rails of this movie, we need to address the big issue. Who the hell is Charlie? So, I genuinely want you all to stop what you're doing and put your guesses in the comments, because it's mind-blowing. We done? Charlie is Jake's friend. The lawyer and the horn dog who is constantly trying to get him laid. The man who took him to the strip club for Thanksgiving. So tell me, how does the synopsis make sense? Sarah and Charlie don't even meet until the last 10 minutes of the film. I was thinking that maybe Google got it wrong at first, but it was also on Rotten Tomatoes. My partner thought that maybe it was from like Wikipedia, because you know people can edit it, and it was just edited wrong and someone missed it. But the synopsis over there is more thorough and completely different. Even the DVD cover synopsis is different. So like, who messed it up? And why hasn't it been fixed? Like, this movie's kind of old. This film isn't great. I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. But it also frustrated me, so we got that going on. Just for your reference, the critics' score on Rotten Tomatoes was only a 37%, and even the audience couldn't give it more than a 50. Not really a movie I'd recommend unless you're super bored and like one of the leading actors. But let's make some good out of this garbage. I'd like to direct you all to the Pennsylvania SPCA. They are not affiliated with the ASPCA, but they do some great things for the central PA area. I'm going to leave a link below to their website. I'd encourage everyone to give it a little look-see and maybe donate if you feel so inclined. If you're in the area, maybe check out the animals available for adoption. I have nothing but good things to say about this organization. My partner and I actually adopted our dog from here over 4 years ago. His name is Ragnar, and I know you all want pictures, so, you know, look at him. That's really all I have to say for now. If there's anything you'd like to add, all questions, comments, and concerns can be left in the comments section down below. In case of pet pictures, my Twitter and Instagram is also linked into the description. Please be kind to animals and me, because we're all a little sensitive. Bye.